to the Workforce Connections podcast, where we discuss workforce development in Southern Nevada. Here's your host.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of the WC Podcast. Today, we have a very special guest. Help me welcome Denette Suddeth, Regional President and Head of Commercial Banking for PNC Bank, and my fellow LVGA board member. Welcome, Denette.
Thank you, Jaime, very much for inviting me here today.
Yeah, I'm excited that you're here. Let's get started by providing our listeners and our viewers just your story. Where were you born? Where did you grow up, go to school, college, and perhaps your first job? Take us through that journey.
Okay, that's a really long story. I'm going to shorten it for the interest of our audience today. I moved here in grade school to Las Vegas from Southern California, grew up here, went to school here, very proud UNLV graduate, go Rebels.
Wow.
I worked for a Nevada title company most of my time at UNLV. I went to school at night, had a full-time day job, various different positions there, fantastic leadership at that company. And then because of the different jobs I held, I had a chance to interact with various banks in town. So it was really a natural transition for me to go to a bank. After graduating from UNLV, I went into a management training program and learned all of the basics of banking. And here I am today as Regional President and Head of Commercial Banking for PNC.
That's awesome. Tell us about your daily work in that role at PNC. What does that entail? Do you mostly talk to customers? Is it more internal? Is it community engagement, or all of it?
Yes, all of the above, often at the same time, it feels like. We have an incredible opportunity for PNC to be built here in Nevada. I'm a longtime Las Vegan and very proud and committed to the success of our community, but PNC is equally committed. So I've had the opportunity to recruit team members. We have fantastic local team members here. We are very engaged in our community. We work with great businesses that are based here in Nevada. Many do business nationally and internationally, but all of our clients are based here in Nevada.
And what are some of the key strategies that you find yourself implementing to drive growth here in Nevada?
It's really important that we support our customers and clients in the ways that they intend for their businesses to grow. We do business with companies that are headquartered, as I said, here. So if they have international business, we have products and services for that. We focus on all aspects of lending that a company might need, and our expertise also sits in treasury management, which is just managing that day-to-day cash flow of companies. Our local team is very knowledgeable of our community here, and my main job as the regional president is making sure we bring all of that national expertise to the businesses in Nevada, and at the same time continue to help our community grow. So we're engaged in many nonprofit organizations in Las Vegas and just keep building all of those things that make our community so wonderful.
Yeah, and I always see you and PNC, like you said, engaged in community events and community initiatives. So that would seem like it is, I know, a full-time job for you. And I think those that know you always, referred to as a really hard worker. But I also, during the research in preparation for this interview, we realized that you also are a small business owner. So not only do you represent the bank that helps small business owners, but you yourself are a small business owner. You're the founder and CEO of Suddeth Inc. You're a certified executive coach. You really have a passion for women in the C-suite, emotional intelligence. So this was really interesting to me. Tell us more about this, why this endeavor is important to you, and maybe share some of the challenges that you help executives resolve in this work.
I appreciate that, Jaime. First, I want to clarify, I have sidelined that business to pursue the PNC growth here in Nevada. It was an enterprise I was running prior to joining PNC, so I'm not currently doing that. I started it because as a female in the banking industry, when I started, there were very few women in the positions of leadership, and the training that I had continued to emphasize the importance of building that. as leaders, male or female, we all have blind spots, and we need to keep learning and growing and moving past the things that hold us back at times. And so that's why I started the executive coaching. I've received fantastic coaching throughout my career that's helped me grow, and I wanted to be able to help other people achieve that. So I did coach both men and women, and thoroughly enjoyed developing people. That's part of the joy of the role that I have now, is I get to work with a great team and help them continue to grow their careers.
That's awesome, because I think for decades we keep hearing from employers, we kept hearing from them that they need soft skills. And they used to say, give me somebody who can be a good team player, work collaboratively, somebody who's a critical thinker, a problem solver. But today, more and more, I hear about the EQ, or emotional intelligence, being a tool that, unfortunately, we don't see prevalent in the next generation. I think whether it's technology and how they're consuming information, that is kind of taking away from that natural emotional intelligence. So, in your opinion, why is that so important as we move forward, that we mind that and we make sure that young people preparing to enter the workforce in life do have emotional intelligence?
I think it's important because of the science of how our brains work and where our best decision-making occurs. And that's when we're engaging that critical thinking, that executive function. When we're stressed or challenged in a way we don't expect, tired, any number of circumstances that might make us feel threatened, our brains function differently. And so for people who are entering the workforce or trying to be successful in any aspect, right? If you've got a student engaging with a teacher or another student, it's important to know the things that we're saying and the thoughts that we're having, where are they coming from? If we want to keep our goals in mind of a successful relationship or engagement or outcome, we have to be thinking as clearly as we can. And that's really the awareness when we need to pause, let those, hormones clear, and think clearly. And that's really what emotional intelligence boils down to, the ability to say the right thing to the right person at the right time in the right way to accomplish the goals that we have.
Yeah, well said. And I think all of that you were talking about, whether it's, listening to understand and having empathy and all those things are things, again, you don't see in a curriculum anywhere, right? And so I guess we used to all get it at home early on, but employers today talk about that, how young people or people in general come to work with a degree, a certificate, or some kind of credential, but they're missing those key elements that make you successful in executing, strategies in a company, teamwork, collaborative projects, etc. So you're also a graduate of Leadership Las Vegas. So our friend Mary Beth Sewell from the Chamber is going to like this. She always is proud of every class that comes through Leadership Las Vegas. We had somebody from Workforce Connections in the last one last year. What class were you in, and what are some of the key takeaways that you took from that experience, and would you recommend it to others?
I really appreciate the opportunity to talk about Leadership Las Vegas. I was a graduate with the class of 2008. You may recall an interesting time for the country, but certainly here in Las Vegas.
Yes.
A couple of things that I took away from the program, Jaime, was even though I grew up here in Las Vegas, there were aspects of our community that I had never been exposed to. So what we know of Las Vegas oftentimes depends on either where we live, where we go to school, what jobs our parents have, the circle of friends that we run with. And so I got to see parts of Las Vegas I had never seen before, both exciting and positive things, and then the challenges that we face as a community. That was a big benefit and takeaway for me from the program. I was also, because of that, exposed to people who I otherwise may not have come in contact with, who are now lifelong friends that I met, through that program, and really value that diverse group of individuals who come together as a class for a year almost to experience Las Vegas and learn from each other. And I highly recommend the program. Like I said, have friends today that are a result of that program.
Is it true they say if one of those friends calls you, you'll take their call no matter where you are?
Absolutely, 100%.
Like a secret code.
Yes.
That's good. Another thing we discovered is that besides you working long hours, being involved in community events, representing PNC at all times, you also find the time to volunteer. I'd like for you to share with our listeners, our viewers, a little bit of the organizations that you choose to donate your time and effort to, and why is that important to you to give back in that way?
I was raised with a very strong commitment to volunteerism. It was part of my childhood and, growth through all of the things that I did as a kid. I will say that I brought that into my professional career at the beginning and continue to do so. I was introduced to United Way through a workplace campaign for Nevada Title, as I mentioned when I went to work there. So I became a volunteer immediately and a donor and continued my work there 30 plus years later. I'm still very active. And the reason it's important and I continue that is because I have seen firsthand the benefit and positive impact of the programs that the money raised through United Way has in our community. So I'm still involved. I will be going back on the board in July. I've been off the board, but going back on the board in July. And then also through, again, a workplace introduction, I joined Junior Achievement when they came to Las Vegas as a classroom volunteer.
Wow.
And it was super important to me because as a first-generation college graduate, I really appreciate the importance of financial literacy. And I think it's the most important way we can help students succeed and have that generational impact for years to come. And I continue to be involved. I have to say, many years of investment in junior achievement is coming to culmination with the Inspiration Center that is opening as we speak. And I can't wait because we will be able to impact at least 60,000 students a year here in Clark County through that Inspiration Center and the programming there. So I remain very active. And we have one of our PNC employees also sits on the board today for junior achievement. But I want to say it's not just me, Jaime. What's really important is we've built a team here at PNC that's equally engaged. We're involved with several organizations. Our team members sit on Spread the Word Nevada is another board and many other organizations that we work with. So it takes a team, as they say, a village, and we're very committed to that. It's in great alignment.
Will PNC have I know there's organizations that will have a physical presence inside the Inspiration Center, whether that's BizTown or...
Yes.
Okay. So
Thank you for asking. PNC will be the largest storefront in BizTown as one of the banks as part of BizTown. So the students, fifth graders, run the city for the day. Mm-hmm. They get 2 paychecks and 3 breaks, and on those breaks, they cash their paychecks at a bank and then become a consumer in the economy of BizTown. And I would highly encourage all of our viewers and listeners to reach out, come take a tour, get involved. Yes. It is the most rewarding thing that I've done, is see firsthand how these students benefit from the junior achievement programming.
Can't wait for it to see it in person, because I've taken the virtual tours. Michelle over there facilitated that for us to understand, also look at other ones in other towns, and to have it here in person, as you said, and to give the opportunity to local governments and businesses to be a part of it. So those young, our future workers, that's who they are. Our future workers are going to go in there as middle schoolers and actually see, as you said, how City Hall passes policy, how businesses produce revenue, how banks, cash checks. It's wonderful. And so, I'm excited about that too. Do you know when the grand opening is, or is this date not yet been set?
We will have soft openings through the summer for some of the schools that we've worked with for a long time. The grand opening will be in the fall as we welcome all of the next semester students in. One of the reasons that PNC is committed to being part of BizTown, Jaime, just like you have here with Workforce Connections, workforce development is a critical pillar to our philanthropic engagement. So it was a perfect fit for us. I've been involved with Junior Achievement, as I said, since they came to Las Vegas, and PNC is committed to the workforce development, and it just aligns wonderfully with that new Inspiration Center. And I cannot wait to see our bank is being built right now. All of the furniture is being delivered, so it's very exciting.
Do you get to put on a hard hat and walk around as that's happening?
I've been in there several times with a hard hat on. Yes.
Very nice. Yeah, I think I'm grateful to hear you say that the bank and other businesses realize that, the development of talent, what we call workforce development, doesn't start after high school. A lot of people think, well, where are you going to college? Where are you going to an apprenticeship or the military or vocational training? And that's true. That's part of workforce development. But the longest piece, and I think, one of the most important sections of that talent development pipeline is that K through 12 system, those 13 years that we are trying to prepare those young people to one day be self-sufficient, to have a career of some sort. Not all of them are going to be doctors or masters or engineers or architects. We're going to need all kinds of technicians, electricians, plumbers, carpenters. We're going to need nurses and, all so many different things that have different paths. And to hear, again, that there's more people getting behind that and saying, we have to make sure that this K through 12 system is producing what we need for the future. So thank you to you and PNC for that. Back to your not so outside of your professional life. You're busy enough, but we also discovered that you love doodle dogs and ATVs. That's a great combination. Tell us about how that fits into your spare time. What kind of fun do you have with those hobbies?
I am a dog owner and dog lover. My dogs are doodles, I like to say. Poodles are perfect, and all their weirdness comes from the crossbreed that they're with. So I've got an Aussie doodle and an Irish doodle, and they're super fun pets. I grew up riding motorcycles. I'm the oldest of 3 girls, and my dad took us out riding. I was buying a new helmet one time, and the sales guy asked me, how long have you been riding? I'm like, I don't remember not riding. So I grew up riding and absolutely love
in California.
Riding ATVs. California, Nevada, certainly.
Oh, here too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love to travel. So that's the other thing that when I'm not working, I'm planning a trip or going on a trip or getting back from a trip and trying to plan the next trip.
When you were young riding ATVs, I imagine you rode in places that now are buildings or developed, right? Do you remember some of those places?
Absolutely. My parents moved off of Smoke Ranch in Jones before Jones was even a street. It was a dirt road. So I could literally take my motorcycle out my backyard and ride in the desert, till it got dark, and then had to be back home on the corner of Decatur and Tropicana. Used to be called the Keno Ditches. We would go out there and ride our motorcycles out there also because there were jumps. I didn't have jumps in the desert off of Cheyenne and Smoke Ranch, but we did there. So.
Decatur and Tropicana today is like the center of town.
I think it's Frias Park now. It's what used to be the Keno Ditches. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And when did you make the transition from a motorcycle, 2 wheels, to an ATV, 4 wheels?
Probably high school, I would say, was when I first started riding an ATV, which, by the way, I have rolled and had several very serious accidents. So my public service message is always wear a helmet. I would be dead if I hadn't. So definitely wear the appropriate gear, including a helmet. Yeah,
a lot of people think, it's easier, safer, and maybe there's some truth to that. But I also, my kids and I growing up, we loved ATVs and we had to drive a lot further than Decatur and Tropicana to find, jumps and stuff. But it was fun, but it was also eye-opening when you see an ATV roll. It is no joke. And like you said, not only a helmet, but teaching them how to roll off something that's rolling is important. So good public safety message there. So you obviously accomplished a lot in your life. And sometimes we have young people that we work with that are looking at that life and say, wow, I would love to be an executive at PNC Bank one day and make a difference in my community and be in leadership Las Vegas and be considered a community leader like you are. What advice could you give young girls and boys that look ahead and say, how do I get there? How do I get to where Denette is today?
I think it's important to realize as early on as in your career as you can, and all along your career, even for me today, building that network, getting to know people. I had mentioned the job at Nevada Title, and I worked at Nevada Title several years, many different positions. The boss I had at the beginning is my best friend to this day. Wow. I was able to find out about that job because my parents' neighbor's stepdaughter was a title secretary, and she knew I was looking for a full-time job. And I was, like I said, just starting college. So those networks and relationships that we build are how our careers develop, and some of the paths that we have the opportunity to take come from the networks that we build all along the way. And I wouldn't be where I am today. I can say that with absolute sincerity and conviction without some of those early relationships and friendships. So I really encourage people to make those connections matter and be intentional on building those relationships.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Networking, relationships helps business. And of course, it all starts, how do you build an effective relationship is with good emotional intelligence, right? Good listening, good empathy, good communication skills. Nevada Title, if I remember correctly, when I bought my home 31 years ago, that's who I use. So I know that now there's a lot more company titles. Back then, the town was still, I think, under a million people, and now we're 2 point something. So it's changed a lot. But that, I believe that was the title company that helped me with my home. So I appreciate that you took the time to come, because even though we see each other, we never get to talk this much in events and lunch and things. So I got to learn a little bit more about you, and hopefully our listeners as well. And when they see you at an event, they can say, there's a PNC lady. I'm going to go talk to Denette. But any final thoughts as we end this podcast today? Any special events or things that you would like for our listeners, viewers to know about?
Thank you, Jaime. I want to start with thanking you again for inviting me here today. It really is a privilege. And thank you for the work, especially that you and your team do in workforce development. My final thought is PNC is very committed to women in business, and this is our Women in Business Week. More than 20 years ago, we recognized the importance of female decision makers and influencers, and have worked diligently to be a good role model in advancing women in the business and in their personal and professional lives. We have a Women's Business Advocate certification program that is not just for women, it's for men. And our biggest allies and supporters through that program oftentimes are men. So I want to encourage everybody to think about how to support everyone as they're trying to move forward. And at PNC, we really focus on doing business with great companies. We work with all companies $1 million and up in annual revenue, and have a fantastic team here to do that. And look forward to hopefully seeing everyone at an event soon, or please feel free to reach out directly. PNC.com/women is where they can learn more about our Women in Business Week. We had seminars on a few different topics, top of mind right now for many female decision makers. So I appreciate the opportunity to talk about that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's good. We're going to make sure we put that URL here on the screen as well for those viewing the program, so they can go back and refer to that. And I do encourage our listeners, our viewers, to walk up to you when they see you at an event and get to know you and plug into everything that you do in our community. So, Denette, thank you for being here with us today here at the podcast.
Thank you so much. It's been a privilege.
Well, that's it for another episode of the WC Podcast. We hope to see you at the next one. Until then, stay safe. Denette, thank you for staying over doing our bonus segment, Call Against the Wall. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. The first section is called Your Favorites. I'm going to give you a category, and you're going to give me your favorite thing in that category. Tell us about your favorite food.
My favorite food is Mexican food. If I had one food on a desert island for the rest of my life, it would be chips and salsa.
All right. And I can't continue with that. Favorite meal that you like to cook?
I like to cook enchiladas.
How about favorite wine with dinner?
Sauvignon Blanc.
Favorite musical group or artist?
Oh, that's a tough one. I love Billy Joel. I would say Billy Joel.
The Piano Man. Favorite movie?
I love Sweet Home Alabama.
Favorite book?
How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie.
Good one. Favorite sports team?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot.
I know.
Jaime.
Yeah, we have several here.
I get to say two.
Okay.
Certainly the two-time WNBA world champion Las Vegas Aces, and the Stanley Cup champion, Vegas Golden Knights.
Great
And
choices.
I have to say the Raiders also.
Yeah, great choices. They all sit with us on right. Michael, Carrie, all sit with us on the board. So very good. You
I'm
made
a season ticket holder for the Knights and the
nice.
Aces.
Very good. Well, you made it through the first segment. The second one is called Tough Choices. I'm going to give you 2 choices, and hopefully you can pick one.
Okay.
Ready?
Ready.
Vacation or staycation?
Vacation.
Drive to your vacation spot or fly there?
Fly.
When you get there, hotel or Airbnb?
Hotel.
Now, when you retire, would you like to retire on a ranch or in a big city?
Well, both.
Okay.
I want to have access to both.
That's right. You have a cabin and then you have your apartment in the
exactly.
sky. Now, a day by the ocean or hiking in the mountains?
That's where I need both. I love hiking in the mountains. I have a goal of visiting all of the national parks, so I would have to say hiking.
Very good. If you could have a superpower, would you rather fly or breathe underwater?
Fly for sure.
Would you rather have the ability to speak with animals or speak in any foreign language?
I would like to be able to speak with animals.
Yes. Here's a hard one. Actions or words?
Actions.
Justice or grace?
Grace.
Well, you made it through the second segment. The last one's called Finish the Sentence. So I'm going to give you 95% of a sentence. You're going to finish it for me. You ready?
Okay.
If Denette could visit any place in the world, it would be?
A national park here, right in the United States.
The best part of living in Southern Nevada is?
Being able to fly anywhere we want, just about any time we want.
Denette's favorite thing about her job is?
Getting to work with people who I enjoy every single day.
And if Denette could travel back in time, she would travel to?
Oh, that's a good one. Probably the 50s.
Wow, the 50s. Very nice. 3 words that describe Denette are?
Persistent, passionate, and dedicated.
Couldn't agree more. And doing the WC podcast here today with us was?
Absolutely a blast. Thank you, Jaime.
Thank you, Denette.